Appreciate it. Easy, easy. Now, you're not wearing a seatbelt. If I get a ticket, you pay for it.
Yeah.
That's the deal. It's what it is. It's the rule in my car. We're picking you up. We're gonna go and discuss how you got into real estate.
Great.
I want to help brokers. I want them to understand what it needs, what they need to really make it as a broker as fast as possible. It's a rainy day today.
Yeah.
But we're glad that you said yes. You always say yes. Most of the time you say yes. You're always up for a challenge. I'm really excited about this. You're going to be able to share how you became a fantastic, fabulous broker. I mean, you have what, hundreds of listings, if not more. So let's start with like, what's the biggest tip you can give when you start in real estate? Imagine you're a brand new broker. You have to start again. What do you suggest you do? What's the first action or activity that you think is the best thing to do?
Well, like, I think, like, first, it's not to be afraid, you know, to be willing to start something new, because it's like, you know, sometimes I think people are intimidated or they're too shy and they're like, oh, I don't want to do this because it's going to be the first time. And there's always going to be your first time. So I think you just have to, like, you know, be like, I don't know how to do this, but I'll figure it out.
Let's go. We're on Green Avenue. Your favorite bank, TD, BMO, Scotia. So let's talk about the first day you came here to our office on Green Avenue.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember that day because it's very rare that a broker will show up at the office without making an appointment. You just showed up.
Yeah.
And I think that's a quality. And you said, I'm looking for an agency. Can we talk right now?
Yeah, I think that's totally my style. Since I've been looking for jobs, I always go to knock at the doors of the place where I want to work. I don't wait for people to hire me. I go to where I want.
Well, yeah, and that's the quality that I was talking about, that you need, or that will facilitate you growing your business or getting more business. So I think that's fantastic. So how do you mostly get your business? Through traditional prospecting?
I think most of my business is repeat business. All my listings, majority of them, it's clients I've had in the past. They've been really happy with the service and they would always reach out to me.
To get business, when you started?
When I started, I think I did some cold calls, door knocking, probably a lot of door knocking. I remember so I had this client who was looking for $1 million house on Nuns Island. And he was looking on a particular street. And I remember it was like winter and I was like, I still didn't have my car, so I was still taking bus and subway. So I went to Nuns Island. It's not that convenient. And it was snowing.
No car,
because that's how you start, barefoot, no car. And I went to knock at each door and I'm like, hey, my name is Lily. I have a client looking for a house on this street. Would you be willing to sell? And so I did the whole street.
So you got a client from that?
Not necessarily, but that client did bought with me, and that was my very first transaction. I remember it was actually a huge penthouse, around $1 million.
So how long was that? So you said this was your first transaction. From the day you got your license to the day you had your first transaction.
I think it was like probably, because I got my license, I think, in November, probably 2 months, I would say.
Oh, so that's pretty
2 months, and my first transaction was around $1 million. That was back in the days, like, when I started real estate back in 2017.
So prospecting, you said you do the traditional stuff, cold calling. What about your network? Did you ever use the people that you already knew?
Of course. I think I have a background in dentistry. Actually, I studied dentistry at University of Montreal.
Yes.
And when I changed to real estate, I think I was probably the only dentist who went to real estate. And the convenient part about it is all my dentist friends all reach out to me to buy whenever, because I'm the only realtor they know.
So this was all planned on your end. I'm going to go pretend to study dentistry so that I get the doctors, the dentist.
Yeah.
So a lot of those past students or friends, colleagues, they ended up buying with you. So you kept in touch.
Definitely.
Social media, you said earlier, you don't really use social media to generate business. I mean, I have a hard time believing that. You do post, you do put stuff up.
Yeah, I do post stuff, but I'm not. I think definitely like there's more room for to growth. I think majority of my business actually people like it's like repeat business. They've dealt with me in the past, and they love their experience. And I think I left a good impression because at the end of the day, I think the priority for me was customer service. I think my starting point is I want to give a good customer service.
But where did you learn this, or where does that come from? Was it someone that influenced you to understand that customer service is a very important integral part of what your business model was going to be? Who gave you that, if anybody? Maybe not.
Yeah, I think naturally, to start with, I think probably I'm kind of a little bit people pleaser person. And I always wanted the other person to be happy with my service. So I made that joke whenever I eat with my friends. I'm like, service à clientèle, faites le 101, and that's me. Because I always do, my job mainly is customer service. And I want the client to have the best experience possible. I want to think about every single detail. I want a service that exceeds their expectations. That was my starting point.
Okay.
And then, because the client enjoyed their experience so much, they will call me back and refer me back other clients.
Okay, so what is it then? What's the baseline? Because oftentimes everybody says, if I give good service, I'm going to get more business. And
Definitely.
I mean, I've never met anybody that says they're going to give shit service or not good service. But what's that baseline, and what do you do to exceed the baseline? What do you think you do extra that others don't, so that you get all that business?
Expectations. I come with my service. I provide the full package, everything I have to offer, which means, so I have, I have 2 houses, right? One in NDG, one in Westmount that I renovate everything on my own, like from isolation to electricity, plumbing. I got it, and I have 2 duplex that I renovate on my own, and also I have an Airbnb business that I'm running, and I also
legally or illegally?
Legally, definitely. I have the permit, and I'm legally, so I offer good customer service for that. I have an Airbnb business. I have renovation. I always have some renovation ongoing, and I have a full team of cleaning lady for me. So I feel like people, when they reach out to me for their real estate service, I come with the whole pack. If they need any, let's say their house needs some extra enhancement.
You have the suppliers, you have the network to...
I call them right away, on the spot. It's done the same week. You need a new kitchen? No problem. I'll give you the phone number. It's installed.
But how do you go from dentistry to an entrepreneur the way you are, with your Airbnb, your flipping or your renovation projects, your real estate business, you do residential, you do commercial. How does that happen? What's the trigger? What made you want to switch completely from a field that has nothing to do with business development acumen? To me, that makes no sense to go from dentistry to...
Yeah, I actually...
How do you go from that to real estate?
I think I have to believe what is meant for you will be yours, and what is not meant to be yours is not yours. And I think it's destiny that guided me to be a realtor. Actually, initially, I never thought in my life, I never said, oh, my dream is to become a realtor. It was never...
Yeah.
I never thought about it, and it just happened. I think it just happened. And how did I start my Airbnb business? It just happened. I was leaving my properties vacant for a while, and I was like, why don't I rent them out? So I started that.
So then that means to me that you're open to opportunities. You're always on the lookout. You're open-minded about different opportunities.
Yeah.
You're not shut down and focused on one thing only. You're constantly you got the antenna open to see okay, well, how could I maybe develop on one aspect or another, which is what you say is how it happened.
Yeah.
You did the real estate course. Did you do the commercial right away?
Yes, right away. So when I activate my license, I got the residential and the commercial at the same time. So I did both license together. Since day one, I had both license. And I think
so. Then came the flipping idea or the renovation idea, just because what, there was an opportunity, there was a house or a property.
I think like every time I bought a property, it was never for flipping. It was like, oh, I would like to live there myself.
Okay.
And you know, I started that project and I renovate and everything, and I'm like, oh, maybe I want to rent it out, maybe I want to sell it. You know, it's like I go with the flow. I never plan things. I'm not like, I think I'm not that much of a planner. I'm more like, I go with whatever.
You see an opportunity as it comes, and then you jump on.
Yeah, I love the house. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. You know, literally 10 seconds I buy it. I don't really. Oh, that's the thing. I never
Is that
think
a problem?
too much.
It's a good, I think
it's both. So I think I'm a risk taker, and I don't think much, and I'm all about.
You don't overthink.
No, I don't.
You think, but you don't overthink about complicating things or planning things or organizing.
I don't
things.
think about too much.
Yes.
I think it's an advantage and an inconvenience, because I don't think about the other thing is like I'm also not afraid to start new things. And what I was saying before is that clients usually like me because, let's say they ask me to evaluate their house, and they're like, let's say they ask me and another realtor. They're like, you know, they ask another realtor to come and they ask me to come, and I offer them, like, let's say I think this house needs some spotlight to, like, you know, make it more modern and it could really bring the value up. I propose the spotlight. I have the workers who can come to install it the next day, who charge them a really good price. So like, I think everybody is so happy with my service because I offer them the extra.
And you get things done.
Definitely, I'm an action person. Yes. Like, you know, if I have a vision, I put it into action. I'm not about like just, oh, I'm gonna think about it. No, I'm
don't
like,
procrastinate.
No,
you jump on it and you do
action.
it.
I love action. I have a vision. I'm gonna put it to like reality.
So what's the future looking like for you? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
I think I really enjoy the customer service, so I would love to continue being a realtor, offer good service.
Where do you see real estate in 5 years? What's going to be different in the business?
You know, I feel like real estate is actually something that like always changing. There was a phase where like people were all into condos, like, so we were selling a lot of condos. And then there was COVID that hit. Everybody wanted houses far away, yeah. So like we would do house far away, and then there was some time that like, you know, people like would just not buy anymore because of the interest rate. They would all go on rentals, so I would go do a lot of rentals. It's always a changing. To people who are starting, well, honestly, I think, you know, there's they say like il y a 1000 chemins qui mènent à Rome, which means there's not only one right way to become a good realtor. You have to find whatever that works for you, and every realtor has their own style. There's not a right or wrong answer. There's not just one way of succeeding. You just have to find what works for you, and that could be different. Like, there's not a right answer. Yeah, and there's one, il y a 100 chemins qui mènent à Rome, so there's 100 way of doing it, and there.
But really, what stands out though for me with you is your proactiveness. You don't wait for things. You do it. You don't try to figure everything out. I think that's the key thing. If I had to pick, if someone asked me to define you, I would say just doesn't overthink things. Just is someone that's proactive.
Yeah. Well, I really like Etienne because he really. I think he really gives good advice. Like, you know, sometimes when we have challenges, you know, he's always like, he's always there to support. I think that's really important as a dirigeant d'agence.
You're in for sure in the top 1%. To have that attitude is extremely rare, and it's And, you know, above everything else, above all other types of knowledge, just the taking action part without overthinking, that's the number one trait for me that I would love to have in all brokers. But so you're exceptional. So
Thank you.
keep it up. Don't change that. And I know you got to get going because you have all these listings and clients.
Yeah.
So I will
so many,
let you go.
clients.
But thank you so much for sharing, especially with the new brokers that you met earlier too. That's great. I'm sure that you're going to have an impact on them, a positive impact. And keep up the good work.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
Simon for me?
You want to keep the newspaper for later? It's going to be a cold one tonight.
I have a client who wanted to list their house, and they said I have to call.
Show me the.
Yeah, so like actually, I have this client who's reaching me out. Like he's like, yeah, he wanted to. He listed his house with a previous agent, but it's not sold. He wanted to do some painting, finish the pool, and
So you're going to help with that?
yeah, well, like yeah, definitely. I have the workers for it. I have. If you need any fencing work, I have the guy. If you need a painting, I have the
Where
guy.
do you get all these people? Through your own experience of your own projects?
Renovating.
Okay.
Yeah, so whenever a client tells me, Lily, I want to put my house in shape for the sale, I'm like, no problem. What do you need? Do you need a fence?